What's up, guys? Aoshi here, and today I would be suffice to say that I have some concerns regarding Winds of War, the new upcoming PvP update for Gray Zone Warfare. Now, this is part of that 0.3 update. They did kind of switch things around, as they mentioned previously in the last few news letters that they released. I apologize in my pacing here because unfortunately, while I was trying to prepare for this, we had some other things going on. So we're kind of just going to ad lib as we go. I appreciate you guys checking this out, and if you could stick around for this, it would be awesome, because everything that I could find regarding this is more focused on the PvP orientation on this, as with the update suggests. This is supposed to be more PvP orientated, but there are some features that will be carrying over to the PvE side. Unfortunately, for somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of time to spend on a lot of games and is also trying to keep up with updates, it is definitely a bit of a struggle to kind of get a sort of blanket statement regarding that. So I'm going to do a quick shout out for madmidder. I'm going to use his list on for Reddit regarding the information, everything that is supposedly coming with 0.3. So I will try to not to tangent as much as I can because of the limited time that we have. So this is supposed to be dropping this spring, although we're already kind of approaching the mid part of May. So I would say very, very soon, because they did mention that June is too late. So I would expect this within less than a week, because if you're watching this right now, you are probably already aware that the little preview weekend that they have with some very notable names have access to this early preview, and we'll be playing it this weekend starting, I believe, Friday. As I look at my bad notes here, the 16th, I think, as early as the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I might be getting my dates mixed up here, but definitely this weekend. They are playing this weekend, so chances are it's going to be releasing very, very shortly afterwards, if not very close to the end of the month, but very soon regardless, probably within a week or two, like I said. So the big thing that 0.3 has already mentioned, people already know, we're getting weather systems, we're getting mood phases, and there's going to actually be cloud cover. So really neat stuff. But one of the biggest things that I think I was kind of concerned with is, because we're going to have heavy rain, since they are modeling this over the Southeast Asia region, like Laos and Cambodia, for example. I think the biggest thing that I was concerned with is we're going to have a repeat of Escape from Tarkov in that capacity, because everybody's comparing it. Even me, it's hard for me not to compare this, with aspects of Escape from Tarkov, because it is the granddaddy that kind of kicked everything off. But the reason for that reference is everybody knows that has played Escape from Tarkov. Anytime that we've had a rain phase, that's literally all we hear, which is, to some aspects, yes, it's realistic, but at the same time, in terms of video game mechanics, the flow through of things, it is pretty annoying. So we switched out the Budweiser frogs for rain, for heavy rain. So I'm kind of curious to see how their sound design is going to be. Now, to kind of just tangent really quick, this is pulled off of PCGames.net or PC Games Net. Unfortunately, this is not listed on their actual videos, and I think this was on Twitter, on X. Now, of course, this is a work in progress version. This is probably about maybe a month or two old now. This is 2 weeks ago, but this is probably a much older build compared to what we saw in the PvP preview. So let me just kill the background music just for context really quick, because you guys are only going to hear this because of the fact that, like I said, with this type of environment change, you would expect it to be kind of deafening a little bit. and rightfully so. So we got our normal day, nighttime, light sprinkle. Now I have turned this down for context so you guys can hear me over this, but yeah, I'm kind of curious to see and hear how much of a problem it's going to be. Now visually, yeah, I expect that. And of course, nighttime, as we all know, that's going to be a problem too. One thing that I do notice though is the foot reverb. I don't think they got that squared away on this build yet, but hopefully once the game drops the major update, then that'll be pretty neat. Won't be as stompy. But yeah, it looks pretty cool thus far, if we're looking at it in context to that. Let me go and close that. For the most part, so you kind of guys got the idea of what I'm kind of looking at for in terms of like noise ambiance. So I think it definitely, you know, in certain cases, especially when it's raining that hard, needs to be very almost near deafening. But at the same time, it's like from a gameplay standpoint, it slowly becomes annoying, especially if you're fighting AI that hasn't been polished up yet, which I know I'm side tangenting there. But especially kind of getting around, it's just like your awareness is kind of down to near zero. So we'll see how they execute that. I do feel like this is pretty much almost done, if not already, if they're already having certain people streaming it, previewing it, I should say. But it's also gonna affect us metabolism wise. So I would say I'm concerned with that too, because like how we got the repair system implemented with 0.2. I don't know if they have an idea how common that's gonna happen. I think they hopefully will go on the conservative side and kind of have it happen every so often, because I'm curious, like, based on what we've played so far with Gray Zone, I don't know how they're gonna implement to where you can kind of combat that, because you're gonna be in the field all the time. So you might have some, like, I don't think you'll have some portable antibody medicine available, but it's hard to say because, yeah, this is gonna be rain that's gonna be light to heavy, and it's gonna be sporadic for like a little amount of time, as it's mentioned in this list here, all the way up to several days of constant rain. So I don't know, we'll see. But they will implement a lot of the functions that are supposed to come with the environmental changes, because right now with Night Ops, there is no AI behavior changes. They just don't see as far. So we'll see how that kicks off. But I think for me, if everything is going exactly or close to exactly as they're mentioning it, I think it'll help get my quests done, my tasks done. Because I would say playing so far by myself, I've gotten pretty far, but I've not like hit the same level as I was playing with a group when Gray Zone first dropped into early access. So yeah, we'll see. So we are getting cops or combat outposts, as mentioned before. Apparently there are 2 different types, which I did not know about. All I knew was that they were there on the map. You're going to be fighting over it for the PvP side of things. But for, you know, the environment, it'll help downtime. It'll help mitigate a lot of the helicopter traffic. Probably more likely you'll be able to log out of there too, because it's kind of like treated. It's basically treated like you're at your main base anyways, based on a lot of the verbatim and conversations that we've seen so far. Because it's a respawn point, you'll have a special vendor, you'll be able to turn in tasks, that sort of thing. So yeah, so basically in terms of PvE, if battle between factions, Okay, hold on. Let me read this verbatim. In PvE, all factions will share cops. Players will clear AI enemies and capture outposts. If a player from another faction arrives, they will also capture it, and both will share the outpost. That's kind of cool. Because I thought it was like, man, I thought we're going to have to play Duck Duck Goose, and it's like, hey, we need to use this. We'll capture it. So that'll be interesting. I wish they could kind of expand that further, because when you fight over it, right, their AI guards are going to be defending it, and they'll spawn to counterattack. I wish they kind of took a page from essentially kind of like Arma 3 and Arma Reforger, where we have Liberation and active AI wanting to take that back. That's their territory. This is our home. So I do feel like it would be kind of nice to every so often have the AI try to come back to that. You know, maybe have some type of in-game messaging or something that, you know, because we already have faction chat already. Hey, enemies are going to be attacking here. Kind of like almost like a MMO type of real-time event, and players will have to head over there, shift over, defend the territory, because it's crucial for pretty much all the factions at that point. So kind of makes sense. But we'll see how that evolves. I think it's pretty cool. It does kind of clarify a little bit, because yeah, I had to look at the Steam thing for a second, but scrolling down, it definitely clarifies a lot of that. Definitely concerned, but like at the same time, like if they can get that working as described, that'll be really neat. But I do feel like they could expand that further, and every so often, because of the way they spawn in the locals or the scavs, whatever you want to label them as, I do feel like wave combat could be really cool if they can spawn them away from players and then have them attack the cops. That would be pretty neat. Custom servers, I know they've kind of mentioned that before, and there will be PvP and PvE and all that stuff. Until they're ready to release stuff detail-wise, I'm not gonna cover it too much, go over that, because it's already, you know, it's something that's kind of still under wraps right now. But I will say that the redoing of tasks and quests is going to be really cool. We're getting some more quests no longer assigned by, some quests are no longer assigned by NPCs, instead activate. That's going to be interesting and kind of annoying with how they're going to implement that. But again, like I said, it sounds kind of like a bad time, or more of an annoyance, rather, I should say. But really, it's going to be down to how they kind of just implement that and how we do that. And we'll have to go from there. As always, I do like weapon upgrades or weapon additions. So we're getting the... I think we got access, or they mentioned like the MCX. So I think this is just kind of not really speculation, but they're planning on bringing some Czech guns to the Bren 3. So really cool, and AR-15 545 variant. I don't know who makes that, but I'm very curious to see what manufacturer they're going to use as a basis. They are going to be doing some AI improvements, as always. That's definitely, I should say, something that is definitely a priority. I think they mentioned that before. So I know, let's see, AI will not be able to hear footsteps while actively shooting, so that's cool. You'll be able to sneak them. I'm kind of curious if you can get some stealth kills finally, because at a very last resort, we get a knife, and it just seems so hard to do anything with that. So maybe we'll be able to test that. Somebody might be desperate, maybe get that on YouTube or something. But it would be kind of cool to see if we can get that going. AI currently operates on a binary system. Either they hear you or you don't. So they'll be introducing volume-based hearing. But I think it's gonna be kind of a toss-up whether it's in or not in like a week or so. More animations indicate where an AI was hit. Just so, yeah, I've had that happen. You hit them and they do the little dance thing. It's like, oh, okay. That sucks. They're not dead. Headshots are more deadly. AIs do not have lower torso organs, so they're adding guts. AIs can be stunned or disoriented by flashbang or hitting into the head. I just want to make sure that my hits connect, because like right now I think I don't see it listed, but I know they said it's mostly, since it's based on the blood pool system, that yeah, they're taking hits, they're getting animations, but they're still up and they're able to fight back like it's nothing. And I'm like, So I would say in relation to that, I know I'm kind of just ad-libbing, but I do hope that that's squared away once it drops. And then we're getting Twitch drops, which is pretty cool. We're going to be getting some cosmetics. I know they're doing a collab with Stack Up, a bunch of other military veteran, either charities or companies that are ran by veterans. Really cool stuff. It's nice for them to kind of give back. I did see some video on the body dragging system, so that'll be neat. Instead of trying to revive your friend or your buddy out in the middle of nowhere, you can actually pull them. So I'm kind of curious if it's going to be I think it's going to be a drop down system like they already have with the Vinicle system, so very much like Arma. Option to skip first town missions if already completed in previous playthrough, unclear. It'll be in the 0.3 update or 0.4, which is based on the lore, so they flip-flopped everything. Yeah, rebalancing new gear, economy changes. So the thing is, reading off of this, right? I wish they had some like sources they can tack on there link-wise, but I know Reddit does not like listing. I'm curious to see what kind of economy changes they're going to bring, because just reading 2 words, you know, having played as much as I have, and people have played a lot more, man, everything's expensive. And then on top of that, like having to go to the high tier loot areas all the time to offset that, yeah, doesn't seem, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I definitely feel a little mixed. Like for me, it's part of it's like, yeah, I should get good and try to go there, but at the same time I'm dealing with my performance issues, and losing to stupid stuff is not a fun time in that regard. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll rebalance stuff, or like at the same time with economy changes, you don't want to influx money too hard to the point where it just like becomes so easy to make money that you just don't know what to do with it. You're doing weird stuff with it, I guess. So yeah, just seeing 2 words, no context. I'm very curious to see if they're gonna primarily gonna adjust the prices for a lot of the gear, but I do feel like they need to adjust the loot as well to kind of ensure that it's balanced as best as possible for both the player side of things and what they're seeing on their end, analytic wise. Current system getting free landing zones as part of quest is expected to change. Again, we'll see how that plays out, because I know like we get certain ones for free, but then you gotta hoof it all the way there. But I think in conjunction with the cop system, I think it'll be an easier process. It'll be nicer to deal with. So we'll see. More support is something that I thought was pretty neat, but I think it's too pricey. 10,000. I mean, it's rightfully so. So I don't think people are going to be using it that much unless you're like way up there already in terms of like game progression. So, and that's pretty much that list there. So I'm just using it as a guideline. I would say I'm not overly concerned, but I would be cautiously concerned, because like I said before, just to reiterate, I'd already did 2 videos, you know, basically specifying my concerns with the game, and understanding that it's still early access and still alpha for the matter. It's not even in a beta phase yet. So there's still a lot of work to be done. They know it, we know it. But all that really remains from seeing all this and chatting it with you guys, especially if you're watching this on YouTube, if you stuck around with this so far, that all that remains now is to see the update being executed, dropping, and basically putting it into our hands here. So with that said, hopefully you guys have an understanding of what my thoughts are. I wonder if I'm curious if we share any type of concerns with this, because I'm excited, but I'm definitely cautiously concerned, because we have things that are supposedly, some of them are coming into game, some of them have been discussed, but you know, obviously it's a toss-up whether it'll make it into this or not. And you know, as with all updates, what's going to be breaking in in relation to that, because there are going to be some performance updates as well, which is, I don't think they listed on this, but that's okay. I kind of did this on the flow as we go. But if you guys enjoyed what you saw here on this endeavor, please don't hesitate to hit that like and subscribe button. I am sleep deprived. I apologize for the pacing on this, but I felt like it was warranted because I didn't really see anybody trying to discuss too much about it, but that's okay. I do feel very excited as well to play this once it drops, and once we'll get drops. I don't know, I'm just, there's just a lot going on with my thoughts, and I just haven't had a chance to kind of process everything, other than I want to play this when it drops, and I want to see if it really makes things a lot easier for my current setup. So till next time, guys, that's it for now, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care.